Hello, this is Emilia Clapp. I am a registered dietitian. Many of you are familiar with me already, and I am the person behind the diabetesclub.com. Today's subject is saturated fat. What is saturated fat and where do we find it? And this is an important subject because saturated fat is not the best fat we can eat. It gives us many problems. So how do you identify saturated fat? Well, because it is solid at room temperature, and you can cut it with a knife or a scissors or whatever. So let us look at the foods that are high in the saturated fat. The first one we are going to take a look at is red meat. Red meat is or it can be high in saturated fat. Look at this white marble around the edges and also inside the meat. So if you like red meat, just try to buy the leanest cuts. Ground meat also can be very high in fat. You see that all that white stuff in these hamburgers are fat, mainly saturated fat. When you eat a hamburger at McDonald's or Burger King, probably 30 or 40% of that hamburger is going to be saturated fat, so be aware. Poultry also can be high in saturated fat, and the fat is underneath the skin. So my advice is when you cook chicken, just remove the skin before you cook it. Or if you want to roast the chicken, just take the skin after it's roasted. Fish has some saturated fat, but is much lower in this type of fat that red meat or chicken. So my advice is to eat more fish and replace the red meat with fish. Cold cuts is a type of food you want to be aware of. Look at all those white spots. All that is saturated fat. And also cold meats are made with very poor quality meats. They have also a high content of sodium. So if you're watching your sodium because you have high blood pressure, I suggest you stay away from cold cuts. And the same goes for sausages. Any processed meats are going to be high in fat and very high in sodium. Butter is mainly saturated fat, and so it is margarine. Margarine has an additional problem, and it is the hydrogenated fats that are made with. And trans fats or hydrogenated fats, as they are called, are very damaging to our arteries. So if you have to choose between butter and the margarine, I would say definitely butter. Cheese, hard cheese. I love hard cheese, but I have to eat them in moderation. So if you like cheese, just try the soft cheeses like ricotta, mozzarella, and you can have some hard cheese once in a while. But be aware that they are high in saturated fat. Last but not least, pastries. Pastries can be very high also in saturated fat and hydrogenated fats. So if you're going to buy a cake or some kind of pastry, make sure it's good quality. And ask the baker what fats, what oils is he or she using in the bakery. So to recap, how do you identify saturated fat? Well, because it is solid at the room temperature, you can cut it. And it is found basically in animal foods. And also many pastries, because when they make pastries, they use fat, and they use the saturated fat and the hydrogenated oils. And if you want to see how to choose the correct beef steak cuts, you can click here in this link. I wrote an article that is very informative, and you can use it. So I hope this presentation has clarified what is saturated fat. I hope you have enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.